Hello, 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 beautiful unicorns. Yana Kasperczak coming to you live from Ontario, where the weather is as unique as all of us. And it has been, those of you who don't know me, as I said, I'm Yana Kasperczak, and I am your spiritual awakening core energy coach, which is another way of describing it as a mindset coach at a much deeper level than a typical mindset coach would be. And it has been my soul's purpose to help women get their shit together so they can break free from the mental prison they find themselves in and live the life that they are, build a life and live a life or a business that they're not only proud of but excited to wake up to every single day, no matter what seems to happen. Because there's always going to be something happening in your life, and each thing that happens is an opportunity for you. And what is that opportunity? Only you can figure out what that is with the right help, support, and guidance in your life. Hey Rebecca, buenos dias to you as well. How are you doing today? So today I am doing this deck once again. It was right here beside me, and I thought, I just don't want to go with any other deck. This one feels like it's the right one for today, as we're all diamonds trying to fit into the world that says they want us each to be ourselves and unique and authentic and as rare and beautiful and as strong as a diamond. But in reality, that's not what they want. That's not what the world really expect from you. They want you to fit in. They want you to be quiet and do as you're told and not be yourself, but be the same as everyone else, because it's so much easier for them, for everyone, to live their life without trying to be themselves, right? Because by you being you, what you're really doing is you're saying you are allowed to be yourself. And most people are too scared to do that. And most people don't have the right guidance, the right support to help them through all of that. Rebecca says, girl, I'm healing from my back slowly, and I started having tight chest, and on Saturday I felt a lump in my throat. Ooh. I followed some Beth's Kundalini breath work and has been helping tremendously. I'm glad that Kundalini has been helping you for sure, finding the right medicine for you. And when I say medicine, I don't actually mean the big of the pharmas. You know what I mean? Those, to each their own. Based on my knowledge, my understanding, I don't feel comfortable, don't feel safe with it. So I figure out and I learn natural or naturopath. I think that would be the another way of calling it, natural and natural pathways of healing what we're all going through. And Rebecca said, I thought I had anxiety, but after meditation and reflection, I realized that all that I am burdening myself with. You have a lot on your plate. You're dealing with a lot. You're going through a lot. You're responsible for a lot. And that sense of responsibility, it does cause us to feel really, really tight in our chest. So doing Kundalini definitely will help. Distracting yourself by doing something different, because something that you might have been doing prior to that might have been the very thing that caused you to feel that anxiety, that caused you to feel that tightness. And then lumps, I would still recommend going and having them checked out by a professional, but at the end, you're the one that gets to decide and choose your course of action with what it is. Stress causes us to have cause creates different things, different sensations in our bodies, because there's no healthy outlet for it, right? Because most of us, we are just simply taking that stress that we're feeling and we're keeping it inside, not to burden anyone else with it, and don't have perhaps healthy coping mechanisms with dealing with it. For the most part, yes, sometimes it might be great to have the Kundalini practice, the exercise, even cleaning, but it goes beyond that. Because what happens when that's over, when the class is over, when the Kundalini practice is over, we tend to feel better, but then we didn't actually deal with the actual root cause of it, of what was happening in the meantime. Sometimes it is actually something medically wrong. Sometimes that actually is something medically wrong. A prolonged exposure to prolonged amount of stress, which most of us actually go through, will cause disease in the body, because it creates dis-ease in the body. And when we feel uneasy or dis-easy, disease will be created. And it could be coming through as lumps, right? It could be coming through as headaches, migraines, headaches, aches, and pains in different parts of the body. When our body is always communicating with us and telling us what's wrong, we just don't know how to interpret that. And all of that, or most of it, is connected and rooted, because even we're talking about disease, right? Disease itself is created in the mind, because stress itself is created in the mind. It lives in the mind, and when it's living within your body, which is, your mind is part of your body, when it's living within you, it's only natural for it to start spreading everywhere else. And when it starts to spread everywhere else, it comes through in different ways, different forms of sicknesses as well. And like, think about the people that you know in your life, if you know these people, who vibrate at like the highest frequency. And when you ask them, why are you so happy? What made you so happy? Some of them will just simply thank you for that compliment, while others will tell you what made them so happy. And that was going through really, really, really hard times. That's going to be the card for today, by the way. Actually, there's two, so we're doing two. They've gone through really hard times. They've been to hell and back, because living at the highest frequency, highest vibration, it's not anyone's birthright, not in this day and age, but you get to earn that through going within, working on yourself, understanding yourself, fixing, quote unquote, what's broken, which really just means understanding yourself, understanding your internal language, understanding what causes you stress, what is stress to you, and how it comes through for you, how you understand, translating your own body language and understanding your own body. And that's something that is done at the core. That's something that is done best with someone or a few someones, which means experts that you can go to that will help you to work through this problem or that problem or that problem or this problem. You can work with them simultaneously, or you can scatter and work throughout, this amount of time you're going to work with one person, this amount of time you're going to work with another person, this amount of time you're going to work with another person, to help you essentially get your shit together, to understand yourself at your core, rewrite those messages. Because if you're just trying to rewrite them or busy yourself but not going and cleaning house, then you're just going to have things pile up and pile up. Because if we don't deal with something, it comes back, and it keeps coming back, because all of us are persistent, and our bodies are persistent as well. If there is something wrong within us, that issue will keep coming back until we deal with it, until we learn and understand it enough to help us change it in the way that makes sense for us, and heal it once and for all. And then Rebecca says, I also went for a long walk in the rain and it was wonderful. That is also amazing. The rain itself is very, very cleansing and very healing. And there's, Google this as well. Any one of you that is listening or watching, I recommend going down this rabbit hole a little bit as well, but not too far, unless it's calling you. The health benefits of being out in the rain. Just the soil, the wetness, especially where you're going for a walk in the rain. Keeping in mind, depending on which direction you go into this rabbit hole, you will also learn that the rain is not as clean as it used to be back in the day because of the pollution. So you do want, if you're able to go for a walk in the rain, it is of course best to go further away from the cities as much as possible, or the industrialized type of buildings. And then Rebecca said, I got so energized walking in the rain. Yeah, because it literally grounds you, and there's positive and negative eons that are coming up as well that helps you to feel balance and equilibrium within your body as well, on top of the earth element being water. Right? Okay, so the first card is the Faultline. Interesting how it looks like it's the desert and a crack going through the desert. So that's the Faultline. And the second one is the thread. Let's see what these cards hold for us. Oh, there's one that was the forest, as we were talking about the forest. XL. Here we go. The Faultline. I like to read the sides first. So the Faultline, the fissure, the crack, the weak link. Within all of us, there's a part of us that feels, and in a way is, the weak link. That is the part of us that will say yes to the things that we don't want to say yes to. That is the part of us that will obey and do what they're told, even if they know it's wrong or doesn't feel right. It is the one that causes us to be submissive and good girls. Now, there's, of course, even with that part of us, there is good and bad. Within each and every thing that we experience, each and every part of us, there's going to be good and there's going to be parts of that, right? Because you get to learn a lot from experiencing the weakness, and you get to grow from that as well, because you get to then fix that crack and not let that happen again. It is possible that something a loved one said caused a crack in your relationship that has never been mended. Revisit it. The time to heal is nigh now. So there's been things that have been said to you that cause you to feel bad about you, lowered your self-worth, your self-esteem. Now, there's also going to be people that will tell you, or experts out there that will tell you that Sticks and stones don't break your bones, right? In other words, that the words, they have no meaning, you give them meaning. And as true as that is, it's also not true. When you, I'll put it this way. There's been many people in your life that have come and go. You might not remember, chances are you do not remember what people said to you and how they said it, but you do remember how those people made you feel. So when it comes to these cracks that someone has said to you, whether it's someone that you're still in contact with or not, it's important to heal those. I feel like this is why the conversation was coming up about going deep within your roots and healing those parts, because if you don't heal them, it keeps coming back up, and you feel triggered, you feel hurt, because there is a deeply ingrained message you're carrying about a part of you. Now, you don't perhaps remember what was said to you, but you remember how that person made you feel. Some of you will be able to remember what was said, but the key, I feel like, is understanding that feeling. And by understanding that feeling and that emotion that someone caused you to feel, you can go with it and helping you understand under which circumstances that was said or how it was said, and perhaps get to what was said. Maybe not 100% in those exact words, but close enough for you to understand what was said that has now become part of your programming. And let's go with it I guess I'm trying to think of an example to give you. Is a perfect example, when you were a little girl, and let's say you were learning how to clean your house or wash dishes or whatever it is that you were learning how to do, or even put makeup on or get dressed, and one of your parents or your friends has made a remark about how you do that thing, how you clean, how you, let's say you vacuum the whole entire house, but you didn't vacuum it good enough, so you have to do it again. And then you didn't do a good enough job, you got to do it again. You got to do it again, right? Until you do it right. And in the process, they went about it in a negative way, causing you to feel that you're not good enough, that you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do it, that you're never going to be good enough to even vacuum, and then you keep doing it, and in the end, you still didn't do a good enough job. So something like that can seep into almost every part of how your existence, of how you will next time, let's say you go and you wash dishes, and your experience with vacuuming the house will be attached to how you wash dishes. You start to almost approach everything of how you do that. It's not gonna be good enough. It's not going to be perfect. That there's a certain invisible standard that you don't even know what it is, and part of that also starts to this is where the fear of unknown starts to creep in as well. Where I don't even know what this invisible standard is, but I want to achieve it, I want to reach it, right? Without actually even seeking clarity, because you were never even taught to seek clarity of, okay, you want me to vacuum. Teach me, guide me, write for me. How do I do this simple job? To you, it's a simple job, but to me, as a child, it's a brand new job that I've never done before. So how do I go about doing that, right? So, and those types of things. Now, as an adult, you are trying to figure your life out. There's a lot of fear of unknown, because nothing comes with a manual. No one tells you what to do and how to do it, because you got to create that shit yourself. when you're trying to build a business, same example, same scenario, where no matter what it is that you're trying or attempting to do, that fear creeps in of, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to be good enough, I'm going to fail, and I'm going to be ridiculed, and I'm going to be punished for it, and I'm going to be forced to do it again and again and again, and I'm not going to be feeling good about myself and my self-worth, right? It's just one simple example. But then there's also some kids who were raised with more praise, more understanding, compassion and love, and a lot of patience, where the parent explains things and teaches them and guides them. Those are the kids that will not have those same fears. They're going to approach life in a different way. They're going to be a lot more fearless than the rest, because they've had different experience. They've learned, because assumptions, they come from the past, right? Just something happened in the past, and then we start to assume that, this is how things were when I was vacuuming. So now you start to assume that things are going to be the same way when you go and do your dishes, when you go and clean the bathroom, when you go and clean the bedroom, that it's still not going to be good enough. Debbie says, I relate. So, speaking to the right audience here. Thank you for sharing that. And I feel like a lot of us good girls will relate to this, and that's why we feel like it feels so normal, but yet it's not normal to live life like you're walking on eggshells, to be so scared to be yourself, to say what you want to say, to do what you want to do, to follow your own dreams, to listen to yourself, to listen to your intuition, to your voice, and do those things and sing your own heart song and follow that, and give no fucks about anyone or anything else if it's not in alignment with you. It's very normal. But at the same time, it's not supposed to be normal. And this is where those of us who feel that way, it's an opportunity to, not everybody gets this opportunity. That's why I say it's an opportunity to go within and to do what feels right to you and by you, to understand who you are at your core and follow yourself. Follow your dreams, your goals. Perhaps you have to uncover them first and differentiate between your dreams and your goals versus somebody else's dreams and goals that have seeped their way into your system, and where you feel like they're yours, but in reality, they're not yours. They are the program. Okay, enough said. Let's keep going, because we still have one more card. And Japanese kintsugi. Ooh, I love this one. I've actually, when I did a workshop with a friend of mine, oh man, I think it was in 2020 or 2019. This was one of the topics that I was talking about. In Japanese kintsugi pottery, gold is used to mend cracks. Breaks are thought of as precious rather than something to be hidden. That is what makes you beautiful and unique. And you are not broken, you're not shattered, you are beautiful just as you are. And that in order for you to get gold in those cracks, you need to be broken first, you need to be shattered first, so you can reattach yourself and find yourself within. Otherwise, when pottery is being made, it is practically identical, but you're not meant to be identical to anyone else. The world made you be that way. That's the programming, it's the conditioning that all of us receive to fit in, to be the good little girls, to follow the herd, to be in the herd. But you were not meant to be part of the herd. You were meant to venture out on your own at one point or another. Perhaps this is your time. Imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. Just close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself walking across a frozen lake. and there's a crack right before your eyes. How do you feel? How do you feel when you see a crack in the middle of the lake that you're walking on that ice? No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. Panic takes over. No matter how composed, no matter how much you have your shit together, when there's a crack, it's only normal to feel panic, to feel fear, to feel your soul leave your body and say, fuck this, I'm out of here. You're on your own. It feels like that sometimes, right? I laugh because looking back, that's the best way to describe when I would find myself in freezing, fight or flight or freeze, when I would freeze and it's like my soul leaves my body, says, you're on your own, I'm out of here, you figure it out, right? And I won't come back until you do. And part of that soul does not come back. That's not the laughing part, because part of that soul, when we experience such fear and trauma, it does not come back until we start doing the healing, and then little by little it starts coming back, and we find ourselves. We literally find ourselves, and we call back all those little pieces of ourselves. If you were that pottery, that Japanese kintsugi pottery, that some of these pieces from the pottery you would keep finding back as your soul and attaching them back with the gold, gold glue. You become fearful, intense, and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. In order for us all, to be our true authentic self, in order for us to be healed, in order for us to vibrate at the highest frequency we can, we need to lose ourselves. We need to experience brokenness, to feel broken, to feel shattered, and we need to experience hell. Feeling all of the darkness and our shadow and facing that. And that is how we earn our authenticity, our highest vibration that we can be. Because if you were just given that, if you were given your true self, one day you wake up and you're your true self. You're your true self almost every single day, but you just don't know how to keep that more than a few seconds. Okay, because you wake up, you're usually your true self. Or at some point throughout the day, you are your true self, but you don't know how to hold on to that. And if you were, one day you woke up and you vibrate at the highest frequency possible, you don't get to keep that because you don't know how you got there. In order for you to keep something, you gotta earn it. You gotta go through hell and fire and water and high winds, everything. You gotta go through chaos. And when you go through that, you grow through it, and you know what it's like on the other side, and you know how you got here to this highest frequency of vibration where you are your true pure self. You are authentically you. And then you are able to keep that because you know everything you need to know. Otherwise, if you were given that, you wouldn't know how to keep it, how to hold on to that. If just like a lot of people, they wish to win the lottery and have lots of money, but if we really pause for a second and start to think and calculate over your lifetime, How many millions of dollars have gone through your hands that were yours, that you had earned, and yet you don't have it? So when you win the lottery, similar concept is that you wouldn't really know what to do with it, because if you don't know what to do with the pennies that you get, how would you know what to do with the hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars? Everything starts small. So if we don't know how to do and deal with the little things, how would we know what to do, how to deal with the big things? Such is the energy of the fault line. It is the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing that what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking, the cracking open is overdue. It's been long enough. I would refer to this as Pandora's box. When you put things away into your Pandora's box to deal with later. I don't want to deal with this right now. I'll put that away. I'll go do this right now. I'll go do that right now. I'll go do this right now. And we all do this because it's our coping mechanism. It's the way how we also heal. But it comes time to actually deal with those things for all of us that we have put away. Because on some days or some weeks, there's a lot of things that come our way, and we're living lives that are so busy. We're a different evolution of humans than when humans started on this planet, that we don't have time for things that are actually important, and with things that are important to us, realistically, is everything that's happening within. And what happens within, we see outwardly as well. But we often find ourselves not having time or energy to deal with the sheer amount of things that are coming at us, for us, that we put it away, until perhaps right now it is the time, it's overdue to start dealing with that crack. Start dealing with everything that's been put into that Pandora's box. As fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. Think about, a lot of us actually do this. We walk along the fault line and pretending everything is well instead of actually dealing with things. But think about how you actually feel. Go back to that vision of you're in the middle of the lake, frozen lake, and the ice cracked. You're in panic. Now you start walking along that fault line, along that crack. How are you feeling? How safe and secure do you feel walking along that fault line? Probably not very safe, not very secure, not very confident, probably full of fear, or crawling maybe at this point, trying to get to safety because you know that it's better to crawl on ice than to walk on ice, to spread your weight, and getting really cold. Now, in life, a lot, this is why I do what I do. Not only did I go through this myself, but every woman that I speak with and I work with has gone through this or continues to go through this, where it's just avoiding dealing with what is coming up, with what is coming through. Most of the time, it's an emotional feeling, some kind of heaviness in the part of the body, or aches and pains in the body even waking up with them. And that comes from this Pandora's box being full, that it's about to crack open. And once it cracks, you can't close it. And you just, it's like the floodgates of feelings and emotions. Your aches and pains, the heaviness in certain parts of the body, that is your emotions that have been trapped and not faced and dealt with over a long period of time, that now is perhaps the time to start dealing with it. Okay, there is no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. From the roots, where you gotta go, you gotta focus on your roots, you gotta heal your roots, so that way everything that grows on top, the branches, the leaves, the fruit that is you, can grow as authentically and as easily as possibly can. Do the hard thing for easy life. And the hard thing is, for all of us, is to go within. Is to understand what is coming up, why it's coming up, what's happening, why am I feeling this, why am I feeling that, where is that coming from? And then by understanding it, okay, now I see it, now I understand it. Where do I go from this point on? It's like, I like to use the analogy of a broken arm. You have a broken arm, you got to know where it's broken, how it's broken. You got to get the expert to help you put the right cast on it, so that way the healing can start and begin. And then you got to tend to it and take care and make sure that you're not using that hand for everything, right? Same thing with when you're healing yourself within. You need an expert to help you understanding what is happening, to understand the breakage, and then have the plan of how are we going to now fix it. When light, redefining reality, breaking open. When dark, precariousness, pretending, delusion. The word delusion, it comes through as, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, it will fix itself, everything will be normal. You know, even saying things like, and this is part of pretending, even saying things like, good things will continue coming my way, where you're not actually doing the work that is causing you to feel the discomfort within your body, to go within to understand. And then when you understand, then you can actually witness and see these things happening without just trying to convince yourself of feeling good. And I know I'm guilty of this one sometimes too, where I would feel overwhelmed, or there's a lot of things that are on my plate to do and a lot of responsibilities, where I would go into that state where, you know, realistically I can't have all these things done in 1 week. I can't. But that part of me that is trying to normalize it, it's telling me, essentially it's like basically telling me to keep pretending, to keep saying that yes I can, yes I can, yes I can, whereas in reality, no. What I need to do is be realistic right now and take this massive list that I have for 1 week to do and break it down into a month. And that will be realistic, because that is what balance is. Anyways, go deeper. Dance to Everything is Broken by Bob Dylan. Once again, Everything is Broken by Bob Dylan. Dance it out. Listen to it. And tell me how it was for you. Now, the thread. I feel like this one is going to be a perfect closure to this one. This is where you got to go through the fault line. You got to go and deal with the Pandora's box. Everything that's coming up for you, which is the roots. You got to understand it. This looks like a vein as well, if you look at it. or the root itself, and then little roots are growing from it, which starts with the main one with the biggest crack that, you know, you get to look in and see the other roots. Okay, the thread. L. Oh, this is under the tool. Now we're getting into the tools. L, X, X. Ah, I just saw it. Ooh, it's the last one of the tools. The thread, the path, the vein, the circuit. See? Connected. That's why these cards came out together. There you can see better. They were just attached and you couldn't take them apart. You may think you have to find the thread and pull it. Imagine, though, that it's already tied around you, waiting for you to follow it home. You have the answers within. You need nothing. Just a cheerleader, support, a little bit more understanding to help you get there. Recall a moment in your life when you felt fully alive. Just think of that moment in your life when you felt fully alive. The thread is waiting for you amid the details of that memory. Everything is in that memory. What you're looking for that thread, for that path, for that piece to help you connect the circuit so the lights can come on in the house, it's in that memory. And I feel like the most important part of that memory, not necessarily what you did and how you did, but who you were, who you are in that moment when you felt fully alive. What was different about you in that moment that helped you to feel fully alive? Think about that one. Feel free to share it as well, even if it comes through later, by simply saying what was different about me when I felt fully alive was, and I'll follow with the answer. Okay, let's get with the card reading. Life is a tangle. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously. Some of these words I am like, I don't know what this word means, and even the writing itself makes it like the font itself. Maybe I've already been reading and talking too much that I'm running out of fuel as well, because I'm paying attention to the time, like going a little bit longer than I planned, but let's keep going. So much happens simultaneously and circuitously. I shall be Googling that word, and some of you know what that word means. Feel free to share with me. Leaving us grappling for meaning and direction in a network of distractions. Man, the world that we're living in is just full of distractions and a bunch of shiny objects, and that's why so many of us feel uneasy and unsettled and not able to make a decision and a choice of what to do and how to do it and stick with it long enough to see the result. When we connect to the energy of the thread, however, we strike the deepest vein in the body. Our whole being responds to its tug. Meaning is pumped through the bloodstream. Our mind and spirits are lifted. We remember who we are and what we came into this world to do. though this happens on the most profound level, it could be the simplest incident that activates the thread. A song, an image, a conversation heard in passing. And the song was just actually recommended to listen to, so maybe that will be the song that will help you to connect to your thread, to see your thread. No matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Perhaps you might notice that there are many threads that are attached to you, and that is the world and the people in your world that have good and helpful intentions, but they put their things, their shit on you, and their expectations of you on you, and you don't need that. So then cutting those threads to help you be you. If we're confusing, no matter how confusing and multi-layered our modern lives become, if we are connected to the thread, we are free. Being tethered to it is the only anchor our heart requires. Your path, your thread, your purpose, your life, your authenticity, everything that is you and no one else. Let me, that issue. Okay, there we go. Just want to make sure I have, that I'm not missing any comments, because sometimes they stop coming through on my phone. Okay, the last part. When light, the circuit of meaning within chaos. So within the chaos that you feel, that you experience, you see and feel the meaning within it. And it's like the fire that ignites you. When dark, binding, frustrating, taunt. Go deeper. The sculptures of Eva Hesse. Maybe looking at the sculptures of Eva Hesse. Hesse is Hesse. Here, I'll show you. I don't know if it shows backwards or not. Take a look and see if the sculptures speak to you. Maybe that's going to be another, it's like looking at an image. Maybe look at an image and listen to that song that will help you and activates the thread, activates your path, your purpose, your journey, your meaning, where you see you in your purest form. Anyways, that is all that I have. I see Rebecca says the chaos within is just a reaction to the disruption of tranquility of being. Yeah, that's a beautiful way of saying it. The chaos within is just a reaction to the disruption of tranquility of being. I hear that as the external distractions that are coming at us almost like from every single direction possible. And it is, if we're, this group is here for helping women to master themselves. That's what really Get Your Shit Together is about, becoming your own master. And that means figuring out your balance between being and doing. Sometimes you gotta do things, while other times you just gotta be, and learn to ignore the external world and just tune it right the F out. Just tune it right out. Not listen to it. And when you're feeling a lot inside, or you're feeling any kind of discomfort inside, that is your call. That's like the bell going off and saying, it's time to go within. It's time for dinner. Focus on you now, right? It's ringing within. Look at me, pay attention to me. This is the time to tune out the external world and tune into the internal world. And that's that. Debbie says, thank you. You're welcome, Debbie. Thank you for being on here as well and for contributing to the conversation. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Rebecca, as well. Thank you for being on here with me and contributing. Rebecca says, the external shakes everything up. It's like a speedboat traveling through a calm lake. Yeah, that's exactly what the external world does. It's like all the waves and the ripple effect of those waves that can leave behind you, that can cause you to have that fault line. The ripple from the water, from that speedboat, it just, there's so many sometimes that go in, and that's why I say sometimes we just can't deal with everything at once, because there's so, especially as mothers, there's so many things that we're responsible for. And career women as well. You add career, you add your kids, you add your pets, you add yourself, your partner, your house. And the more that you have within your house, the more you're responsible for. Your subconscious knows every single thing that you have within your house you need to deal with and fix or put away. And if it's not done, it will feel like that nagging person that keeps telling you what to do, but you're not pausing long enough to know and feel what that is, and so therefore you won't be doing it, because it just comes as like an easy feeling, and you're like, not right now, I don't have time for this, let's deal with it later. And then you start to feel better because you're like, okay, you know, your body tells you, we're gonna do this later. Okay, later doesn't come because you've forgotten that, and then later and later and later, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Anyways, that is all that I have for you. I shall see some of you tomorrow at the Secret Circle at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and the rest of you I will see live on my personal page for story time with myself, Yana Kasperczak, at 11:45-ish. And until then, have an amazing the rest of your day, and next Monday as well I might see you for this live card reading at 11:30. Okay, bye.